Good morning, Diva. It's week number 2 of waking up early. The habit is not there yet. I'm still very sleepy. I could not fall asleep last night, but I'm still up. So ever since I'm up, I've been working on the story and very good progress so far. It feels like when in the morning I get up, it's very easy for me to just sit down and have no other thoughts, just come in, break my my train of thoughts when I sit down and do the writing, so it's very useful. And there's just something about the kitchen at this hour with the lighting. It just feels very cozy and really puts me into the mood. And I'm putting some lo-fi hip-hop. It's amazing to work this way. So Sunday night I worked on adding a kick animation when we push the blocks, because ever since the beginning there was not really anything happening when we were pushing the blocks, and I tried to convince myself for a long time that because they're hallucination there should not be any type of action behind it and it just moves by itself. But I have a feeling that having a kick animation, after a lot of suggestions from a lot of other game developers as well, would add a little bit more, and I actually sat down and put it in place, and I think it looks very nice. So as you can see, we now have this test level, and when I go to a block you will see an actual kick animation. So I didn't want the animation to be too long. I still want the gameplay to be very fluid, so I don't think this impacts a lot. There's a little bit of a delay before the blocks get pushed, only like 0.2 seconds, but we can still like move away after we've pressed. So even though there's an animation, it doesn't actually slow down the gameplay. And that was something that was very important to me. I didn't want to have player have to wait for an animation to complete every time they want to try something special with the puzzles itself. And there's another thing I really wanted to do for the next month. Since I have one event coming up where I'll be showing my game to the public, it really feels, I don't know why, but people never press new game. They always try to continue from wherever the other people left off, which means they start into a puzzle that's way too hard, and then I have the awkward conversation of having them leave the game and start over again. So I think for the benefit of every time that I'll show my game to people, I need to actually create a booth mode for the game, which will just have one option to start the game from the beginning. No way to continue, no save slots, nothing like that. That's just extra, that's not required. I'll also want to make sure that if I'm away from my booth for some reason, there'll still be some gameplay footage that is shown, so maybe show the trailer within the game as well. If there's been no contact about the main menu, it will just play the trailer somewhere in there. So I don't think it will be very difficult. It's just adding one new menu widget that will just say press play to start and just default the save slot to a specific one. So this is what the menu looks like right now. As you can see, there's a continue new game, and then most people will just click on continue, which brings them in the middle of nowhere, most likely at the end of the game, because that's where the last person got to. New game option, which is prompted with 3 save slots, and for some reason people are very scared that they'll overwrite something, so they always ask the question which save slot. And then I've also seen for some reason people go to load games. And options like setting and credits are not very important. Everything will be set up front by myself, so there's no need to worry about these as well. Alright, so everything that's related to the booth mode is currently working. I can swap between the booth mode and not the booth mode. So very easy, just do Control B on my keyboard and that will just switch it up so I can have a build that I can use in multiple places, and pretty much only I will know the shortcut, and the shortcut will be removed in the final build as well. And then the next thing I didn't really know how to do was implement a video that would play as well, because I have never done that in Unreal Engine before. I know it was possible based on some documentation I've read in the past, but I just had to jump into it. So I basically opened up the documentation related to the media player and went through all of it. It was pretty simple to implement, so no real worries here. Just had to kind of break it down into parts. How do I add the audio? How do I add the texture that's playing, and how do I set up the playlist as well. Right now I don't feel like I have a perfect video for it. I just use the old trailer for now, even though there's a few things that changed already. I think this will do the trick until I get to my event. I'll try to figure out what type of video I would want to put. I think a little bit more gameplay would be interesting, just to show to people before they sit down what they'll actually play. It feels like sometimes people think it's an action game or something like that, and I want people to be really able to see right off the bat that this is different. This is a puzzle game, this is a block pushing puzzle game, and if people like that type of game, they'll see it right away. And if they don't, at least they won't sit down and waste their time if they don't feel like playing a puzzle game. So I think that's it for this week. Not many things were done, but I think a lot of progress was done on the writing aspect of the game. I feel very confident that there's maybe only a day or two left in the writing. Then I should have most of my storyboarding ready. And then with some leftover time I had this week, I managed to get booth mode ready for the game events that are coming in November. So that I was really happy about that. And also I added a small kick animation that should give just a little thing that will really bring the game to something more polished, more complete as well. And it doesn't really break the immersion, doesn't break the flow of the puzzles. It's still as quick to push them around. There's only a small delay, and that small delay is only for animation's sake. It doesn't actually add a delay when we push the blocks. So I'm really hoping that the next few weeks will have a little bit more different progress about the game. I hope I'm able to share just a tiny bit every week. As you know, I'm still working on the game part-time. I still have almost full-time contracting work that I do for clients, and this is taking most of my time, and I really try to focus on bringing the game forward. But with the new schedule, waking up at 5 a.m., I'm very confident that I start my day off with the game, so it becomes the top priority in all of my mornings. So I know I can at least do 2 hours every day. Instead of putting that at the end of the day, I start with it, and then if I get tired or anything, this comes down the road and not for the game. So I'm very confident that the game will keep moving forward, starting with this new schedule, which I'm really excited about that. I think it's a different way of approaching things, but I think this is what I needed for the next few months to really bring the game completely to completion. So about the story, since I'm about to complete it, I will really need some feedback on all of what I've written. So if spoilers is not something that you mind and you want to help out, please send me a message on whatever platform you're looking at this. Otherwise, there should be a Discord link in the description somewhere where you can join. If you join the Discord channel, please mention me, and I'll provide you the information about that. This will be a next part that will be very critical, because if the story has something missing into it, I'll probably have to change it right away before I start implementing all of the changes. It'll be much quicker for me to do all of those changes.